was 10 years old on April 19th, 1995. I was in 4th grade at Hillcrest Elementary School, and I remember our school secretary wheeling the TV into her office, and that's how we found out there had been a bombing in Oklahoma City. I had a classmate in the hallway crying because she thought her grandparents were in the Murrah Building. That picture of her in the hall, crouched down crying, still hurts my heart. This, of course, was in a time when there was no social media, so the only way we could find anything out about what was going on was through our news channels, and that's when I decided I wanted to be a journalist. As an Oklahoman, at 10 years old, I got what was happening. I watched as our state struggled, and then as the people of our state came together and made Oklahoma stronger. My best friend's dad took my best friend and me to the Murrah Building before it was torn down. And I'll never forget holding hands, walking through the crowd of people and seeing all of the destruction. And at that time, there were still victims whose bodies hadn't been recovered. There was a woman from my hometown who was a victim. Her name was Virginia Thompson. Her house was 2 blocks away from mine on the corner. Her body was the last body recovered. Without a doubt, it changed me. It changed me the day it happened. And that tragedy, in some strange way, ended up making me even more proud to be an Oklahoman.
School leaders are working to make sure the next generation remembers what happened on April 19th.
Jonathan Cooper shows us an interactive art display designed to do just that.
From paintings to sketches, mixed media, and collages, these wide-ranging pieces of art representing the lives lost on April 19th, 1995.
I would like for people to be able to come and see what the life of these people was, and also the remembrance of the devastation.
But this art is not done by professionals, rather Broken Arrow High School students. Our teacher Jennifer Brown came up with the idea earlier this year.
I just started thinking about how these 15, 16, 17-year-old students may not even know what happened. You know, as a 60-year-old person, I can remember exactly where I was, what I was doing.
Wanting to teach all of her students about the bombing's history, Brown decided to print off photos and biographies of all 168 victims.
But it does tell some things. And
That's perfect.
The assignment, to create a piece of art they feel visually represents each victim.
They're all going to be 12 by 16. As far as medium goes, they were allowed to do whatever pretty much they wanted.
In January, we joined the class shortly after the project was assigned. 17-year-old Jordan TABBERER chose Dana and Christopher Cooper, a mother and son who died together. Dana was the director of the America's Kids Daycare. Her 2-year-old son would go to work with her.
Dana was going to be a teacher. She was taking early childhood learning classes.
Jordan's first task was doing research on both of them.
One of his descriptors was that he was very handsome and had a beautiful singing voice.
Using pastels, Jordan chose to draw Dana's hand and her son's.
I wanted the hands to show that she was reaching out to him. And then on the ribbons, it's going to be musical notes. And then this one, it's going to be the alphabet.
I started sketching and figuring out how to do motorcycles.
Across the table, senior Abby MUTTONI chose victim Margaret Goodson, who worked in the Social Security office with the disabled because she wanted to help people. Abby learned Margaret was in a motorcycle club and loved taking rides to Arkansas.
I decided, let's go for some mountains and get her motorcycle here and some birds over here, have her driving up the mountains.
Abby and Jordan say they grew up hearing about the bombing and learned even more through the project. But not all of her classmates were as familiar. German exchange student Felicia STOEFFEL had never heard of the bombing before this.
We talked about it a little bit, and my host mom told me about it.
Felicia created a collage for her project because her victim, Olin Bloomer, loved the outdoors. Olin worked on the 5th floor of the federal building in the U.S. Department of Agriculture office. And while not every student knew about what happened that day, everyone in this class learned their victim had a story that deserves to be told, and that evil robbed 168 families of someone they loved. Whether it was a teacher, a child, a wife, or an outdoorsman, all of their lives were cut tragically short.
people died who lived here, whose family lived here.
I think it allows us to connect with other people in Oklahoma. It's really just a good thing to know about. Don't let this happen.
The 25th anniversary remembrance ceremony will be different this year because of COVID-19.
With the memorial closed, you can watch the hour-long special at Sunday morning 9 a.m. right here on Channel 6. And as we leave you tonight, we want to honor all of the victims with the beauty of this memorial and hear from some loved ones whose lives were changed forever.
Good night.
Robert N. Chipman.
I think he would have told people to hold on to your faith, to be strong within your family, to let one another know how much you care about them and love them.
Linda G. McKinney.
She was probably as close to an angel as you could get here.
Donald Ray Leonard.
To take time to smell the flowers. He did it.
Rebecca Needham Anderson.
She was very big on unconditional love.
Michael D. Weaver.
His sense of humor is what people remember him for.
Lanny Lee David Scroggins.
He taught me, though, that what real love means.
We got a tough game Monday night now. They're going to be a little tougher, so we got to be tougher.
Thompson Eugene Jean Hodges Jr.
I don't think there's anybody that would spoil anybody the way he did me.
Kim R. Cousins.
You cannot truly be prepared to live until you're prepared to die.
Olin Burl Bloomer.
Growing up with my daddy, I smiled a lot more than I cried, even when I was bad. If he punished me, he'd make me laugh afterwards.
Kathy Cagle Linen.
She, as my grandfather said, the heart of our family, the rock.
Frankie Ann Merrill.
I'm just grateful for the time I had with Frankie as she was growing up. To watch her develop into such a fine young lady, good mother, and a good friend.
Elijah S. Coverdale. Aaron M. Coverdale.
I am so glad I had the privilege of knowing Aaron and Elijah, because they were very special little boys, very.
Miss Bailey Allman.
She was from a caring family, and she was a very caring person, and should have grown up to be one.
We remember 25 years later.